In 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to the 5G podcast.
My name is Steven.
My name is Trevor.
We hope you enjoy our conversations about God, guns, gaming, goals, and gastronomy.
Our point is to provide a honest, down-to-earth conversation between two average guys.
Thanks for watching and hope you enjoy.
Cool.
I make myself laugh too much.
It's not a bad thing.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan doesn't think I'm funny, but I think I'm freaking hilarious. Makes some pretty funny jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
She just calls me stupid and moves on with her life.
Alright, that was that. Okay, husband.
Alrighty, so I wanted to get your opinion about the new crossover between Magic the Gathering and Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
And
Rings.
we play Commander. We don't,
Mhm.
at least personally, I don't get into any of like the modern or the other
Modern,
format.
Legacy, Pioneer, the competitive ones.
Yeah, I don't get into any of those, but because there's so many freaking rules that like
Mhm.
I don't know already in Commander that I don't need to bog my mind down with all the other junk.
Yeah. Sure.
not junk, I suppose, but other stuff, right? But Wizards of the Coast just announced that they're doing, not just announced, but they've been doing this crossover with Lord of the Rings, and they just released a couple days ago when we're filming this.
All the cards.
all the cards from all of the new Commander decks,
Mhm.
or all the cards in general, right?
I think they're all out.
Yeah. Okay.
At the time.
But they released the Commander packs and what's going to be in the pre-cons and things
Mhm.
like that, and I wanted to go through them and kind of get your opinion about them, and I'm going to like tell you what me as like a uneducated, stupid new player thinks about these cards,
Uh-huh.
and then like you can give me like your opinion and tell me I'm dumb because I don't actually know what these cards are supposed to do.
That sounds fun. I'll enjoy this. Yeah.
You're going to just calling me stupid, right? The entire time.
So I think you're dumb.
You have to do it in a Trump voice, though.
Frankly, you're dumb.
I don't know if anyone I know can do like a good Trump impression.
Dude, it's hard. He's
He's got an interesting voice. We're all from Arizona though, so we all have that like very monotone Southern-esque type of speech compared to like his New York or wherever he's from.
New York,
I think
pretty
it's
sure,
New
yeah.
York, right? Anyway,
Magic.
alrighty. So there are 4 Commander decks.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Riders of Rohan, which is a blue, red, and white deck. There's a Food and Fellowship, which is white, black, green, which looks like the Hobbit deck.
Yeah.
There is a Elven Council, which is obviously elves, which is green and blue. Then there's a Hosts of Mordor deck, which is
Mordor.
blue, black, red. Blue, black, red. So the Riders of Rohan one. Let me see if I can get this right. Hold on. Okay, yeah. So the face commander of Riders of Rohan is Eowyn Shieldmaiden.
Yeah.
And she has first strike, and then at the beginning of combat on your turn, if another human entered the battlefield under your control this turn, create 2 red human knight creature tokens with trample and haste. Then, if you control 6 or more humans, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other legendary in that pack is Aragorn, King of Gondor. And he has Vigilance and Lifelink. And then when Aragorn, King of Gondor, enters the battlefield, you become the monarch.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Aragorn attacks, up to 1 target creature can't block this turn. If you're the monarch, creatures can't block this turn.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and here's the opinion part of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a quick note, could you give us the costs?
Mana cost and
Mana costs. Eowyn Shieldmaiden is 5 mana, 2 colorless, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 white, because duh. And she's a 5/4. 5/4 for 5. And then Aragorn, King of Gondor, is
4/4?
he is a 4/4 for 3.
He only costs 3.
Actually, he costs 4.
He costs
I lied.
4.
He costs 4. I cut off the back half of the card
Oh,
on my
gotcha.
picture here.
Okay.
I just took screenshots of all the cards, so
Yeah.
like, the screenshot didn't have it. Actually, I took a picture of my computer monitor.
Oh,
I didn't even do a screenshot.
Doing that one again.
Yeah. So, but I cut off like the edge of the card because I can read his full effect, but I just missed that last white pip.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's 4 for a 4/4.
Gotcha. And then your opinion, your take, hot take.
Yeah. So a lot of the decks, you can usually switch out these two cards sometimes in the precons.
Yeah, but then it almost seems like there's one that they really designed for, the face commander.
The face commander, but sometimes the other legendary is better than the face commander. Example, the Tyranids deck.
Tyranids, yeah.
Yeah, the face commander is like useless. Not useless in the deck, he's like halfway decent in the deck.
Okay,
but compared to the other commander or the other legendary card is way better.
Yeah, the face commander is better in the 99, as we say.
Yeah. In this situation, I definitely think that Eowyn Shield Maiden is a better commander than Aragorn, because Aragorn has to come into the battlefield for his effects to take place.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, they both have to be on the battlefield.
Yeah, but Aragorn has an ETB effect. And
hers is just if another human attacks while she's on the board.
Yeah. Enters the battlefield under your...
Oh, another human enters the battlefield.
Yeah.
Then you get the 2/2 knights.
I think that it is good. I don't think it's broken.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like going to be like super amazing.
Yeah.
I think that there's like a little bit of synergy, but I don't think it's like special in any way. I think there are a gajillion other cards that do something similar in other tribal instances, right? This is just like a random human tribal deck, in my opinion. It's not like cool necessarily.
Yeah. I would say, going to my opinion, first off, you're dumb. No. had to get that one out of the way. The first one, Eowyn, the face commander, she's definitely growing on me only because I saw the full deck list.
Sure.
And some of the new cards that they're printing just in the deck, I thought were pretty interesting, pretty good for human commander decks. Yeah, human synergy, if a bit one note, you know. So that effect was growing on me because you know, she's a decent creature. She'll swing, deal some damage. She makes more creatures, maybe draws you a card. Like, generally, that's pretty good. That's kind of all you expect from your tribal commanders. Like I have the werewolf deck, and that's just like he draws cards. That's all I need. All I need off of him, because then the rest of the deck is what makes it up. I posit with Aragorn being the commander is a really interesting fact to consider. Maybe is a bit more build aroundable in that if you look at Aragorn almost as a sorcery in gameplay.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, okay, yeah, he's got the mana cost, he's a creature, power, toughness, whatever. But you're right, he enters the battlefield, he makes you the monarch, which will draw you a card at the end of the turn. But then his other ability is that creatures can't block if you're the monarch. In that case, that's 4 mana, he comes down. If you already have a giant board of creatures, he's effectively a 4 mana sorcery that says creatures can't block this turn. Maybe you win the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm. They've had ones like that in the past where you almost have to look at that as like... That's the cool thing about Commander is that you can build around a certain creature, 100 different ways sometimes, and there's thousands of commanders. And some of them you have to build around thinking that they're just a sorcery. Like, forget it's a creature.
Sure.
It's just this spell that you always have access to.
Yeah, well, that's what I use my commander in Tyranids for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use her for... I swapped out the commander in the Tyranids deck because I use her as a summoning ability.
Yeah.
Like, almost like a mana dork with better abilities rather than a creature.
She just sits off to the side and gives you some little benefit. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay.
So, yeah, in that sense, it's not... In some commander decks, your game plan is like, oh, I want to play my commander as fast as possible because I built my whole deck around him. This is what I want to do. Whereas maybe with Aragorn, it could be better depending on how you build the deck. Of like, you wait until you have a giant board, then you cast your commander. So.
Yeah, interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Colin, do you have any hot takes?
Hot takes on that deck? You can come sit on my lap.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm good. For me, my only concern is actually color theory. In the regards that with Eowyn, it seems kind of like a human populate ideal, which naturally when I've seen it in the past, I've seen like white, green, and now I'm seeing it in just kind of colors.
Red, white, blue, yeah.
So there might be support in it in the commander deck, and maybe in the actual set because King Theoden sorta.
I think he was red white. Yeah.
When another human comes in, another creature gets double strike. But outside of that, my question is support.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how much set support is there going to be for Jeskai human population?
It's very specific. Yeah.
My same issue I run into is the same with Aragorn, in the fact that with Monarch, I've seen other color combos for Monarch, but I haven't seen Jeskai Monarch support.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what they have coming out next that could really create good support for these cards. But by themselves, you know, as cards, I think they have you're getting what you're paying for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're bad cards.
They're fine,
I just question the outside support.
That's fair.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
It's a good take.
Alrighty, the next one is the Hobbitses.
The Hobbitses.
The base commander is Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit. And he actually has partner with Sam, Loyal Attendant, which is the other legendary creature in the deck.
2 commanders.
So Frodo is a white and a black for a 1/3. He has Vigilance. And then whenever Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit attacks, you gain 3. If you gained 3 or more life this turn, the ring tempts you. Then, if Frodo is your ring bearer and the ring has tempted you 2 or more times this game, draw a card.
Yeah.
And then Sam, Loyal Attendant is partner with Frodo. And then at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a food token, which a food token is an artifact with pay 2, tap it, and sacrifice that artifact, and you gain 3 life. And then activated abilities of food you control cost 1 less to activate.
Yeah, so it's only 1 mana to sacrifice your food.
And he is 3 mana, but he is colorless green white.
Yeah.
And he's a 2/4.
Yeah, so in this case,
they're both your commander.
Yeah, because of the partner with specifically the other guy.
And so this is actually a green, white, black deck. Which I think is what the... yeah, green, white, black. Okay.
Yep.
So, that's interesting. What do you... So my thought is that if you have both of them out, you get some consistent card draw and you get tempted by the ring.
Yeah, and you will gain life inherently from the food tokens.
My only problem is that it's whenever Frodo attacks, but he's only a 1/3.
Yeah, he's not very strong.
Like, that's like the easiest thing to get rid of almost.
Remind me, it said when he enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you?
No, not even that. It's whenever Frodo, Adventurous Hobbit attacks, if you gain 3 or more life this turn,
3 alive. So
the ring tempts you.
If you cracked a food, basically.
If you cracked a food.
Yeah, that's you almost have to look at the ring tempting mechanic from the new set, which is a little weird. It's a little complicated because you need a whole other card to explain any card that says the ring tempts you. But it's basically a progression of abilities. You pick 1 creature to be your ring bearer.
Yeah.
And the first one that's kind of important is that it says your ring bearer is legendary if he's not, and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power.
Oh.
So the first time you do it, it would make Frodo unblockable. So you kind of save him from attacks.
Okay, so you get him. The point is to get him out quick, and then make him your ring bearer, and then he's unblockable for the rest of the game. Basically,
basically, it's like other 1-power creatures could still block,
but then he's not going to die from a 1/1
because he's got 3 toughness.
Right.
So he'd kill all the mana dorks and stuff.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
The Sam.
And then is this going to be? Is this going to be maybe a little bit of a Voltron deck then? Where you're trying to buff him so that... Because if he can't be blocked by creatures with less power, he's always going to have 2 more toughness than he has power.
Or is it greater power? I don't remember. But he's got 1 power, so only 1 power things can block him.
What did I say? Did I say less?
Yeah.
So
I think I said less too, but I meant greater.
But if creatures with greater power can't block him, then he's always going to be able to either do creature removal without dying, or get through.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, without knowing the rest of the cards very well, obviously I've seen some of the cards that's just basically food token creation.
Yeah, you
right?
make
There's
food tokens.
Stupid amount of that in this deck. Like for me, like a Voltron-esque type thing makes sense where you're just trying to get the 20 commander damage through. 21 commander damage?
21, yep.
21 commander damage.
21 to each player, yeah.
And then the Sam Loyal Attendant just kind of like, yeah, you need to pay 1 mana to sack a food token and gain 3 life. And so you're kind of like life gain Voltron deck is what I would build this as probably.
Gotcha,
if I were
gotcha.
to build these two together from scratch.
Yeah. It's hard to say because it's like, because you're right. On the card, it's just you gain some life, you draw a card,
Yeah.
you deal a little bit of commander damage. That's probably how I would build that. Or you just build generic, like, you're drawing cards, gaining life. Woo. That doesn't seem super fun to me. Like, there's not a whole lot of build-around ability. They actually have... There's 2 other commanders in that deck you can actually run. There's 2 other partners. It's Mary and Pippin partner with each other. Yeah, I don't know if you saw those, because they're not the face commander.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked them a little bit better. I don't remember exactly what they do, but basically their strategy lends more to it is also food, but it lends more to going wide, to having a big army of halflings probably. Because then Mary, I think he lets you, like, you can tap him and sacrifice 4 foods, and then it buffs your whole team. It gives them all like +3/+3 in haste, I think.
Oh jeez.
So you make a bunch of halflings, then you give them all steroids, and then they all get big and go to war. I mean, that strategy seemed a little bit stronger to me.
Interesting.
But
yeah,
if I had to build it from scratch, I'd pick those 2.
Sure.
As opposed to the Frodo and Sam, but as the deck is sold, I think that probably seems fine. Frodo
So where would you, compared to the Eowyn deck,
Oh,
which deck would you say is like better out of these 2?
Yeah, based off the commanders, probably the Eowyn, the Riders of Rohan.
Yeah.
That seems like it would be a bit more consistent
Sure.
with either commander for that one.
Sure. Sure. Your 2 cents, Colin? We're just gonna ask you after every single deck.
Oh, that's fine. I can always comment. For me, I'm worried that having this dual commander is like trying to protect what seems like a passive combo.
Yeah.
Because not only do you need Frodo, but you, like, for Frodo to work, you effectively need a supply of food tokens, and so you also need Sam. So how am I supposed to have 2 Swiftfoot boots to protect both of them?
Mm-hmm.
In order for that to keep functioning. The same can be true with Mary and Pippin.
Yep.
I don't know exactly what they both do. So for me, I kind of question how well could the deck survive without them. Like, if I played them and then 4-pipe, how well can I recover from that? Did I gain enough life? And so
They're relatively cheap, so like the first board wipe isn't like the end of the world.
True.
But the second and third board wipes, like,
Always,
and for their abilities, it's kind of like,
Well,
that sucks.
here's the other catch when it comes with dual commanders. I just have to wipe out one of them twice, and are you going to pay, 7 mana to get out the second one, even though the first one's still out?
yeah, that's fair.
Especially if, like, let's say I blew up Frodo twice. Well,
Yeah.
Sam's making you food tokens, but what are they doing for you?
It is tough, yeah.
So for me, so far on the value, I'm liking Riders of Rohan better because it's easier for me to protect one card, and it also might sound like the deck might survive better without them too. But but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That just briefly, the only partner commander decks I have is one's a creature with an enchantment, and then the other one's a creature with a planeswalker. So at least it's 2 different card types. It's hard to remove both of those at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the next one is the elves.
Oh, this.
Not good.
I'm sorry. No, I should let you give your opinion first.
Well, my opinion, my educated opinion, is that they're not good, even after having not really read them. So, the face commander is Galadriel, Elven Queen.
Mm-hmm.
She is 4 for a 4/5, 2 colorless and a red. I know my colors: green and blue. And then her ability, she doesn't have any keywords.
It's just a wall of text.
It's just literally a freaking paragraph.
Oh.
It says, At the beginning of combat on your turn, if another elf entered the battlefield under your control this turn, starting with you, each player votes for Dominion or Guidance. If Dominion gets more votes, the ring tempts you, then you put a 1/1 counter on your ring bearer. If Guidance gets more votes or the vote is tied, draw a card. Then the second one is the other legendary creature is Gandalf, Westward Voyager. He's 5 for a 5/5. And he is, whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with that spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card. So, my opinion
Each opponent draws a card.
is that Galadriel as a card is meh.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, it's not horrible,
It's not good.
but it's not like fantastic. And then as a commander is just absolute dog doo.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't do anything for your creatures. Doesn't do anything to like help you win the game.
You either draw a card or you give one of your creatures a +1/+1 every turn. Ooh.
Yeah, and then same thing with Gandalf. Like if you're casting a spell with mana value 5 or greater, like that would be okay if you're just using spells all the time, right? Are we getting kicked out?
Another hour?
An hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Shout out to Guild Gatherings.
Yeah, for real. But then, like, I feel like Gandalf would be the better of the two commanders.
Yeah.
Just because you're playing spells, creatures, artifacts, instants, and sorceries.
At least, yeah, those. You don't even have to really build around it.
Yeah, and so it's like, okay, like, those at least you can, like, oh yeah, if the first card is an instant on top of their library, it's like, oh yeah, I played an instant.
Then you copy your instant.
You copy your instant or their instant?
Yeah, reread his ability.
If any of those cards share a card type with that
Start from the beginning, yeah.
Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with that spell,
The spell that you cast, yeah.
copy that spell. Oh, I see.
Yeah, and then each player draws a card.
Each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card.
Yeah, so if there is no shared card type, you just draw your cards.
See, but this is the problem. It's mana value 5 or greater.
Yeah.
And like
Which-
that's like a pretty high level. Or
It's kind of a sub theme in green blue because that's the color
That's
that
true.
generally can ramp up. You
That's
get
true.
access to lots of mana, but it would be hard to do that multiple times in a turn.
yeah.
And still have mana left to do something else. I will say, my opinion. I've seen the rest of the deck as well, and I hate the deck. I hate it. Galadriel and that whole mechanic. There's in the deck. There's like 10 vote cards. Oh, there's probably like 20 vote cards, and like at least 5 of those are secretly voting. I don't want to be sitting at a commander game for 4 hours secretly voting on things. It seems like it's going to slow the game down way too much.
And it's kind of weird because normally like the politics decks, which kind of what this is. It's normally like mono white, right?
Yeah, white is generally in that theme.
And there's no white in this deck.
It's almost, Colin mentioned earlier, like maybe they're just doing different themes for each colors, like the red, white, blue humans, green, white, black food. We really only had food in like green before. Yeah, so now they're doing like politics in green, blue. They're trying something a little new.
Yeah.
And it's the Elven Council is the name of the deck. I totally see the flavor. Like it's cool. It's cool flavor.
They're freaking elves.
They're elves. They vote on things.
Like I guess they're playing off like the high elves instead of like the wood elves.
Yeah.
It's like the wood elves are like the bad A's.
Totally.
Like
Agreed.
kind of like chaotic, lawful,
Chaotic good.
lawful evil or whatever a little bit, you know, but like they're out for themselves type thing. But then the high elves or whatever they're called, like
We're just
from
talking about
Rivendell,
things.
and they're just like, yes, the ring needs to be taken to Mount Doom, and it's like, You are literally immortal elves that
How did
fight
the book
like.
go? It's like 3 months later of them
Yeah,
just
it's
like,
like, okay,
discussing
this is
the
done.
Rivendell.
But
I don't like the rest of the deck. I think there's so many cards that's just like, oh, if you do this, then do a vote. It's so boring. It's like, at the beginning of your turn, do a vote. At the beginning of every turn, do a vote. Like, oh my goodness, just want to play the game. If the results of the vote are tied, you draw a card.
yeah.
Okay.
If I wanted to get into politics, I would get into politics. Right?
If I wanted to vote on things, join Congress and so a lot of the deck is built around that of like, oh, when you vote, you get an extra vote. That's kind of cheating, but
When you vote, you get an extra vote.
yeah, stuff like that.
That's so dumb.
So as far as the deck, I don't like it, but as far as the build around, I think Gandalf has way more variety.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
it's just any spell with mana value 5 or greater. You can build your whole deck based around enchantments if you want, or just planeswalkers.
No creatures except for Gandalf. And
Yeah.
Just like,
You can. There's more variety there. So if I had to build from scratch, Gandalf seems pretty good actually. Maybe I'd build that one personally.
gotcha. Yeah. So far we've got Rohan at the top.
Rohan, the Hobbits.
The Hobbits and
the Hobbits
this
is-
one.
Yeah, elves are just
Anything to add to that, or is that kind of your opinion, Sir
elves
Colin?
bad.
Honestly, I think it's kind of sad.
Oh yeah,
you know,
because they could have done like a cooler.
Honestly, like, I mean, I love.
They massacred my boy.
Really, they did. I mean, like,
For any of the elf fans out
yeah,
there.
I mean, I love Galadriel as a character, but honestly, like, Gandalf is such a driving force behind what happens in Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, that even his ability is in my opinion, kind of cool.
It's cooler.
If they had built around that, I feel like they would have had a really unique, flavorful deck that would have competed with like a Grixis Spellcaster or
Sure.
you know, and especially in green and blue. Yeah, that would have
It's
been
unique.
really, yeah, it really would have been unique. And so I actually think they missed an opportunity. Maybe Gandalf himself as a card might be worth picking up, but for the rest of the deck, you know, like you said, who wants to be secretly voting? You know, that really means like, oh, I'll wait for everyone else to vote and then change my vote to what I want. You know, like, no. So I don't know. It's kind of sad. So maybe Gandalf could be cool, but you would almost have to build an entirely different deck
It's different.
just to get him to work.
Mhm.
But I would say though, I can already think of some 5 or higher costing spells that if I could copy.
Yeah, but the problem
It's
though,
a little bit random.
The problem is that if sorry,
Oh.
in like
Weird.
in a 4-player game, yeah, you have the chance to get like 3 copies of that spell, right?
Just one copy, I think. It's if any of the cards shared a type.
Oh, really?
they
So
get
so your chances of that are like very slim, because like you're gonna throw in, you got lands, spell or sorceries, instants, creatures, artifacts, right?
Enchantments, planeswalkers,
Enchantments, planeswalkers,
battles.
battles.
No one's gonna play battles.
Is that all? I came up with 4. You added an extra 4.
An extra 4. No, as of right now, that's all of them. Yeah.
So you've got like a 12% chance to get
To copy one.
to
of your
copy a
spells.
spell.
I would say again, this is some of the build around ability. If that's a word. It's hyphenated. There are ways to manipulate the top card of libraries. So you can manipulate either the top card of yours, or I think maybe it was only opponents. There are ways to manipulate the top card of your opponent's library.
Yeah, each opponent.
To try to get it to be like, oh, if I know I'm going to cast a creature, I'm going to try to manipulate their library so it's a creature on top.
I will also add, because when I play Commander anyway, it's usually more than just a 1-on-1.
Mm-hmm.
What are the odds of me actually getting the supposed creature just from one player?
Yeah, you only
when I
need
have
one
3 opponents.
one person.
It's still 12%.
Still 12%.
Yeah, you don't multiply the chances together.
Well, I mean, but
Because you have 12% from this person, 12% from this person, 12.5% from this person.
That sounds like 36.
It's not.
I know.
It's definitely not. That's not how stats work.
I'll tell you,
I
I-
12% chances.
I'm not a
versus-
statistician, statistics person, but a good friend of mine once said, with statistics, it's a 50-50% chance. Either it happens or it doesn't. Either you copy the spell or you don't. That's 50-50.
Fair enough, I guess. think you need to go back to take a statistics class, Trevor.
I took calculus instead, remember?
I didn't have to take calculus. I had to take statistics and trig.
Oof.
Which, let me tell you, trig sucks. It's very useful, but it sucks. All right.
Last one.
Last one. We got what I was hoping was going to be the coolest deck.
Cool one.
I really was. I was hoping for either a dwarven deck,
Yeah.
which they didn't even have. I don't even think they have they had like Gimli and stuff
Gimli
like that,
is on
but
like 2 cards.
I think they don't have another.
Oh, there's some random common that's like
Yeah.
a female dwarf with
Yeah.
a beard, and I was like, oh, okay, all right.
It's allowed. But yeah, so the Sauron Lord of the Rings. That's the name of the card.
That's the name of the movie.
Lord of the Rings, yeah. So face commander is Sauron, Lord of the Rings. He's 8 mana for a 9/9, 5 colorless, blue, black, red. His abilities: he has trample, and then when you cast this spell, amass orcs 5, which I had to look that up. Is the most random mechanic ever.
So
you have to put 5 counters on a random army, so it doesn't count as 5 creatures. It's one creature.
One creature that
Well,
you
it's
make.
not even technically a creature. I don't think it's. I think it's technically an artifact.
No, it's a token creature.
Oh, it's a creature.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's an army creature.
Yeah.
Right.
Orc army.
Amass orcs 5, mill 5 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
He gets trample, and then whenever a commander an opponent controls dies, the ring tempts you.
Yeah.
And then the other legendary is Saruman the White Hand. He's 4 for a 2/5, and then he is. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, amass orcs X, where X is the spell's mana value.
Mm-hmm.
Goblins and orcs you control have ward 2. Which sucks, because Sauron is an avatar horror, not an orc.
He's not an orc or a goblin, yeah.
I mean, he technically is an orc.
Well.
In the game.
Yeah.
Or in the books. In the books. He is canonically an orc.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the first orcs.
Oh.
No, I'm lying.
That's
wrong. That's wrong.
I was like,
he's a human.
I saw Rings of Power.
That's wrong. My bad. We won't talk about that.
Save that one for another episode.
I actually enjoyed that show. More or less. It wasn't like my favorite show ever, but anyway. I think, so, my opinion, it's, from after I read it the first time, I hated it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is like a dumb card.
It's just...
Like, it's way too expensive for what it does, in my opinion. But, he's a 9/9, which is big.
Mm-hmm.
Very little ramp in red,
black,
blue, and black, right? It's not like green. You're not like ramping growthing every freaking game.
And even white's pretty good these days, and it's neither of those. So,
but the graveyard recursion is kind of nice, because if you have like a big orc or whatever in your army that you want to get back out, it's kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. You guaranteed you get 1 5/5 at least, maybe.
Yeah, or increase that one
if you
already
had a
was.
previous
It could be a 20/20 at this point because there's a bunch of cards in the deck that are mass orcs. Right?
Yeah.
Trample is nice. I mean, it's a mediocre card in my opinion. I don't see a place where it would be like. I don't think this is a card you would throw into any other deck.
Yeah.
I think it's either a commander or you're not going to play it, right? It's just too expensive and doesn't do enough for you.
Yeah. There's cards to reanimate that cost 1 mana. So you don't need 8 mana to do that.
Yeah. I do think that Saruman is actually like pretty okay for an orc goblin deck, because he gives if you make him your face commander, or you make him your commander rather, all your orcs and goblins have ward 2, which is nice.
Good. A little bit of protection,
which is real nice. And then whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you amass more orcs. Like, you get more orcs for playing non-creature spells.
Yeah, well, so you only ever get 1 orc, is the thing with the amass mechanic.
Well, but you get amass orcs X.
Yeah.
So you get to put... So you have your army, but
the orc token.
You get this kind of, like, big army, like
bigger.
this big creature becoming more and more and more, Like, if you play 2 spells your turn... Like, you could make this almost like an artifact enchantment spell deck,
any
non-creature
non-creature.
deck,
Mm-hmm.
because you're gonna get this like orcs,
Just a
this
big
big
token.
orc out the entire time, you know.
Yeah.
And so, in my opinion, Sauron is meh.
Yeah.
Like I give him like if I was grading him, I'd give him like a C,
Sure.
maybe a C minus.
He passes.
But Saruman, in my opinion, I would give like a B minus to B.
Okay.
You know, something a little bit better.
A little bit better.
But face commander wise, I think he's my second. This is my second favorite deck.
Mm.
I think right below Riders of
Okay.
Rohan, then Sauron, and then
Halflings
Food,
and elves.
and then elves.
Gotcha. So, Colin, do you have any insights on the face commanders? What do you think?
I haven't actually seen the whole deck list yet.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to say, but I would say that Saruman the White Hand is actually going to be a little better than what people are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because for me, as recently, I've been playing a lot of Grixis. I've been casting a lot of non-creature spells, and then I've been recasting them from my graveyard.
That's true. That is popular.
There's a fun card called Goblin Dark Dwellers. It's 5 for a 3/3, but whenever you cast them, you can recast an instant or sorcery card in your graveyard that's mana value 3 or less.
Yeah.
I can already think of, I play Saruman, right? I play a different instant for 3, Burn Bright, I amass 3, but creatures I control and summon trinket +2/+0. So just for playing that, I have a 5/3 out in the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
I play Goblin Dark Dwellers and I recopy that spell. I'm going to amass another 3, and they're going to get another +2/+0.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at about a 10-6 right now,
Mm-hmm.
ready to rock and roll for that turn.
He's got the ward too, as well as the goblin that you played also has got the protection. So
And that's just getting started. So
yeah.
for me, I think this is actually a great opportunity for Grixis.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion, of course.
Sure. Yeah, no, I like that. I would just say briefly, like, that definitely, again, seems the more build-aroundable way to do it. Sauron, he seems okay. He seems like an okay pre-con commander, just like, slap it down, you can do anything. Like, maybe you make him a little bit stronger, so you do the Voltron of try to deal damage, or you reanimate, you put things in your graveyard, but I don't think he's particularly strong at any one thing, so... And he's just kind of meh at a few things.
Yeah. How does the rest of the deck look? Because I know there's a bunch of amass mechanics.
Yeah, the rest of the deck, I would say, looks a little sad. It looks a little like they weren't sure what mechanic they wanted to focus on. And I'm not saying all the pre-constructed decks have to be like so tuned, amazing right out of the box. But it just seems like, yeah, they have some goblins, there's a couple orcs, then there's just like big random things that seem to work with the reanimate strategy, like put them in your graveyard first and then bring them back. But it's just like, here's a big random demon, here's a big random dragon. That just they don't seem to really work. There's like a little bit of the pump up your whole army, the go wide strategy. I think they're missing a little bit of like the Voltron, the go tall, like pump up just Sauron. But regardless, it's just like it's getting pulled in a lot of different directions.
Yeah, I think that it's probably because there's not a ton of good ramp in these colors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is ramp, right? But,
yeah.
But it's kind of it's an expensive card. He's expensive.
Yeah. So you're saying on that alone, maybe just run Saruman instead. He's only 4 mana.
Yeah.
You can
just because like 8 mana for a 9/9 is like fine, right? But like most other 9/9 creatures have like other stuff that's like good.
Yeah, or they have a big impact right away.
Yeah.
His only big impact is maybe you reanimate something, and
but
that
it doesn't
thing
even
has
get
an impact.
it doesn't even get haste though.
No, yeah. So if it has a good enter the battlefield effect,
but that's the only things. Like, what are these like? Okay, maybe like you have a creature card that gave you like a huge amass value or something like that, like amass X orcs, where X is equal to the number of lands you control or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
and the other ones I saw in the deck weren't really anything that crazy.
Yeah, so it's like
random dragon.
Ooh. I don't know.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be like synergy with that effect of getting things out of the graveyard.
For me, that's ranked above elves, but it is it's Rohan, hobbits, elves, Mordor, elves.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we switched I just don't understand the food mechanic.
Food.
On like that stuff, but I mean, I think that, I mean, if I was going to go off of the face value of the cards, I like, or of the commanders, I think I like Sauron the best.
Yeah. Okay.
But if like the whole deck synergy, I've seen like how many food token creation there is in the food deck.
Yeah. Tons of food.
In the Hobbit deck.
That seems pretty tuned. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like they're like, yeah, you gain life in this deck.
Totally.
You know,
Totally.
and it has. Does that deck have green? I think it does,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Green and white, which has
Green, white,
good
so
ramp.
all the ramp you need.
So you have plenty of mana. One of your commanders makes food cost 1 to tap. 1 mana for 3 life is like pretty decent.
It's a good rate. Yeah.
You know, so I think there's another card in there that increases the amount of life you gain from foods.
Probably.
It's Bilbo.
Oh yeah.
Bilbo gives you +1. It's
anytime you would gain life, you gain 1 more.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it's 4 health for 1 mana if you get Bilbo out on the battlefield.
I like it.
It's like that's not too bad.
Yeah.
You know, heck, like if you're like losing the game, you've got 10 mana up and you got 10. You know, you just
food.
Oh yeah, I gained 40 health.
Yeah, that's nothing to scoff at.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Or heck, it's like, oh yeah, you swung at me for 10 last round. Well, guess what? Tap 3, gain 12 health.
12 life
I'm
back,
higher than what, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe I switch my opinion then. Now that I've like
As far-
ran through that a little
Yeah.
bit.
As far as out of the box.
Yeah. So if you were going to,
Buy one.
if you could only buy one of them,
Ooh,
are you? Well,
okay.
first of all, are you planning on buying any
I think
of
I'm
them?
planning on buying one of them.
So are you going to go your top pick Rohan, or are you going to do?
Man.
Because if you do Rohan, I'm not going to buy Rohan. Right?
Yeah. Well, my little brother was already talking like, yeah, I got to get the Hobbits. And I was like, I almost want to buy the Hobbits.
Because it's the Hobbits.
Yeah, the Hobbits. Who doesn't like Hobbits? They even have some of the tree folk in there, so it's like Treebeard.
Okay, we have to
Is it
talk
the
about
deck?
those cards next, though.
Okay, sure.
The stupid Ent Saga.
Oh yeah, that was bad. If I had to only buy one, that's probably the Hobbits. It's probably the Hobbits.
The Hobbits.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think it's flavor wise, that's cooler. I like the Hobbits.
yeah, I'm not in love with any of them.
Yeah.
There's not like one where I'm like, oh, I have to have
I
that,
need this.
right? But I think it would be a toss up between Hobbits and, well, shoot, man, it's hard for me because I don't love any of the decks.
No,
right?
yeah.
None of them are like, oh
Nothing
man, that's
calls
sick.
for
I love that. I think mechanically, Rohan is the best. Synergistically, the Hobbits are the best,
With the food,
right? But I think coolness factor, like who doesn't want Sauron?
that's pretty cool. Even if you don't win the game, you're just gonna be like, I'm the villain.
I am Sauron, like, and there's a couple other Sauron cards in there as well.
Yeah, or in the main set as
Yeah.
well, so you can easily just add those ones in.
And so it's like you have Sauron and Saruman. It's like
3 different Saurons on the board.
well, and then you have the
All the Nazgul.
The Nazgul.
Yeah, all the.
which you
Nazgul.
can have 9 of them in your deck. Like okay, like there's some pretty cool stuff with that.
The flavor feels awesome.
Yeah. And so, like, flavor-wise, I think I would probably go with that one just because, like, it's Sauron, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah, Frodo's great, Sam's great, Merry and Pippin are great. It's Sauron.
It's Sauron.
Like, although the same could be said for, like, Rohan with Eowyn and
Aragorn, yeah. That's true.
It's
That's
like,
true.
Aragorn's, like, the main character of the series.
He's pretty bad.
He's not the main character in the books, but he's, like, the main dude,
Mhm.
right? Like he is the king of the country,
Yeah.
you know. So it's kind of
Yeah.
it's interesting.
So
I don't know, Colin. If you had to buy only one of them,
only one.
Mordor.
Mordor. Yeah, he's all
just,
the way
You going with that flavor, just like
That flavor is just too strong for me.
full evil.
Especially as a collector,
yeah,
I want to be able to say that I have them. And,
yeah,
That's true.
And so, and plus, even though I might not use the deck as a whole, I can already think of fun ways I could use the deck.
Strip it for parts and
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Especially with the old amass mechanics, like there's some old cards that fit in well with that too.
nice.
So
Yeah, cool.
yeah. I there was another card that came out with that. So
Mhm.
did you see that there was the Shelob, Child of Ungoliant?
Yes.
So he's I think this is just in the main set, right?
Yes, it's in the main set. Yep.
It's not in any of the Commander precons,
So you'll just get it from booster
which is
packs.
rough
Yeah.
because this
would
guy
be a
is
cool
sick.
deck.
This guy is super sick So, Shalab, child of Ungoliant.
I'll correct you.
Ungoliant?
Shelob is a she. She is like big spider baddie.
I apologize, I misgendered her.
I'm pretty sure. But anyway, go on.
He's a black green, 6 mana, 4 black green, 6 for an 8/8, which is actually just good in of itself,
good
right?
stats, yeah.
And then it has this mountain of text. It's got Death Touch and Ward 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then other spiders you control have Death Touch and Ward 2.
I don't know why you need an 8/8 with Death Touch. It's already going to kill anything that it hits.
Okay, but it's like...
But it's a spider.
It's sick. And then whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you control dies, create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a food artifact with the food mechanic.
Yeah.
And it loses all other card types. So you have a creature that's also a food card.
Mm-hmm.
And like...
Yeah, I'm high on this one. This one's cool.
It's sick!
Yeah.
Like, why is this not one of the pre-cons?
There's so many ways you can go with it. It's like, at its face, you can just build a bunch of spiders, because that's cool.
I feel like this, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this card as a new spider commander, spider tribal deck,
Yeah.
like, this card feels like it would be the best one out of all the other spiders.
Yeah. There's like one other green-black spider that was like okay before this, but that was more about like reanimation from the graveyard and like milling yourself. This is the first one that actually like buffs your other spiders and gives them all Death Touch.
Yeah.
And then you have the added bonus of killing creatures and turning them into food.
Yeah, which flavor text wise just makes perfect sense.
Flavor is awesome. That's what spiders do. But then you can also, if those creatures have abilities, you can use those abilities.
Yeah. It's super cool.
The strongest...
and you would get the ETB effects, right? Because it's creating a copy that's entering the battlefield.
Creates a token copy, so it's exactly like that creature. Yeah.
So you get an ETB effect. You get a 4/4 whatever you killed, and then you can also just say like, yeah, I'm gonna tap and sack this for
life.
Yeah. You know.
So it won't be a creature because it'll only be the food. So you couldn't like block with it because it says it loses all other card types. So stealing a 4/4 would be irrelevant. You can't really use the power and toughness, but it's only the ETB effects or if they have tap abilities on them. But at the very least, you get some life out of it.
Yeah, and what's nice is that you don't even need to you can build just a bunch of small spiders because they all have Death Touch.
Death Touch.
And so it's like, oh yeah, I'm swinging at you with 7 spiders. Oh well, I have freaking 7 7/7s, you know, or whatever. Right? 7 4/4s. It's like, oh well, they all die, and so I can get 7 food tokens, and I get all of those ETB triggers.
Yeah.
It's like, what the heck?
So yeah, so long as you're not killing tokens, if you're killing real creatures, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll blow your mind. I'll take it one step further. As far as the combo potential, because I like combo strategy.
Yeah.
That's how I try to find it. It just says whenever another creature dealt damage this turn by a spider you controlled. So if you have one of your spiders deal damage to one of your own creatures, you turn it into a food. So you're saying, how does that happen? There's fight spells in the game. You can force 2 creatures to fight each other. And your spider has Death Touch, so it's guaranteed going to kill the thing. Which then, the best combo with it is, there's this card called Devoted Druid. It's kind of a joke online. Anytime a card like this comes out and it works with Devoted Druid, it's like, oh no, we found a way to break Devoted Druid. It's just, it combos with Ham Sandwich. But it's a simple mana dork. It's just you tap it, add 1 green mana. You're like, okay, that's cool. It's other abilities and activated abilities. It's put a -1/-1 counter on Devoted Druid and untap it. And he's like a 0/2. So on its face, you can like play the Devoted Druid, you tap it for a green, you can untap it with a -1/-1 counter, tap it for another green, but then if you untap it again, that'll kill it, right? It only has 2 health. But if
unless it untaps during your untap.
Yeah, if you let it untap normally. But you can put as many, -1/-1 counters on it as you want if it doesn't have toughness, if it's not a creature. So you can...
Oh, so it's infinite mana.
It's infinite mana. If you can kill your Devoted Druid with one of your spiders, you just turn it into an infinite mana artifact that just... So... And then once you have infinite mana, I mean, the world is your burrito, so you do whatever you want.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Where your spiders say.
The spiders munching on it.
Dude, that's freaking crazy. That would be insane.
Yep. So that's why I'm high on this commander. There's random tribal potential, just like, oh, I'll play a bunch of spiders. That's cool. There's also combo potential.
That's so insane.
Uh-huh.
And then there was another one I wanted to get your opinion about.
Sure.
I think that spider one is sick. But then there's this legendary artifact equipment, the Morgul Knife.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
So this one is 1 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink.
Yep.
Its equip cost is 2. So it's 3 mana to equip it to a creature basically.
Yeah.
Summon it and then equip it.
Play equip.
But then you can pay 1 and permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn.
Yeah. So if you notice underneath Morgul Knife, there's like an extra box. It's a Shadow Spear, right? It should, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is actually this is an old card, Shadow Spear. Well, it's like 3 years old. That they
Are reprinting with a new name.
Functionally, it's still Shadow Spear. That's why it has to like be on the card for rules purposes. But it's new art. It's Morgul Knife. It's in the Lord of the Rings universe, and art does look cool because it's like Frodo.
Yeah, it's sick.
But yeah, Shadow Spear, Morgul Knife. It's intense. It's a really good card.
So how much do you think that? How much does Shadow Spear cost normally? It's probably pretty expensive.
I think it's not in standard anymore. So I guess it's been out at least 2 years then. When it was in standard, I know it was like $30-something bucks.
Jeez.
I want to say it dropped to like 20-ish now.
It just feels like a really good card.
It's solid. It's one of the very few effects that can remove the hexproof and indestructible.
Yeah. And it's cheap.
Yeah, 1 mana to beat out, or 1 mana to activate that ability.
Yeah, I mean, if you have if you're playing it in a commander deck, it's like, oh yeah, all creatures now are unhexproof and destructible now.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Someone even counters that or something like that, like counter spell, counter target, whatever.
Counter target activated ability.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, I pay another mana.
I'll activate it again.
It's like I can activate it as many times as I want because it doesn't tap or anything like that.
Yep.
So it's like, oh yeah, I pay mana for that. Well, I counter that. I pay another mana for that.
And then as a backup, like the Trample and Lifelink is also good to put it on a creature.
Yeah.
Like a deck that wouldn't normally have access to gaining life.
So if you put this on Sauron in the commander deck,
that's a 10/10.
that's a
lifelink.
10/10 with lifelink
Mm-hmm.
and double trample.
Yeah, well, yeah. Functionally doesn't do anything, but it sounds cool.
Yeah. So I'm doubly trampled. I step on you twice.
Yeah, if they just made a card that was just like, yeah, you can activate it to get rid of hexproof and indestructible, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's the dual purpose that
Really gets it.
it makes the card good and it gives it a home in different formats as
Yeah.
well, not just Commander.
And then the last one, I don't think I have a picture of it, unfortunately. I was trying to find it, but it's the Saga legendary creature. What was his name?
Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, Tom Bombadil. I
Tom
swear I
Bombadil.
took a picture of it, but I guess not. Nope, I
No.
didn't. I didn't.
Here, I'll find it here quick. It won't take too time. I know. Yep, got him right here.
Alrighty.
It's Tom Bombadil. He's one of each color. Wooburg. That'll be on the test later.
Crap, I haven't been studying.
Wooburg. It's white, blue, black, red, green. It's 5 mana for a 4/4 legendary creature, God Bard. As long as there are 4 or more lore counters among sagas you control, Tom Bombadil is hexproof and indestructible. But it just takes 1 Morgul Knife to kill him.
So we were talking about this, how there's a decent amount of sagas coming out with this set.
With
right?
this set, yeah.
So some of them are miserable.
Or not that good.
Like the what is it called? The Council of the Ents or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't think it's Council of the Ents. It's
long
remember what it's
discussion
called?
of the ends.
It's something like that though.
Yeah.
It's like 7 phases or whatever they're called.
Uh-huh.
7
chapters
in that saga, and it's the same effect each time. It's like you put a 1/1 counter on a creature type that hasn't gotten a 1/1 counter.
Yeah. So you can't even put it on the same guy. Yeah.
No, it's like, okay, so you can't put that in a human deck. You can't put that in a halfling. You can't put that in any of the decks. That has to be okay, I'm making a deck that has a random assortment of creatures.
Yeah. No creature type. No,
Because changeling is all creature types.
is one creature type already is changeling technically.
So you would be able to put
Or
you wouldn't
shapeshifter.
be able to you would be able to put it on one creature at that point
Yeah.
for 7 turns.
Mm-hmm. That Saga's not great. The only in the set itself, I don't think Tom Bombadil is going to be super strong. But since we talk about Commander, you can find other sagas, and he's all 5 colors, so you have access to every saga
Yeah, that's true.
they've ever printed. That's always like, anytime they print a Commander, you gotta look at that. It's like, all right, he's all 5 colors. That's just inherently strong in the format because you have access to literally every card in Magic.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And so long as you have 4 or more lore counters on your sagas, he's hexproof and indestructible. That's probably going to be pretty easy to do in this deck.
Yeah, because every time you finish a lore, you get every
Yeah.
time you finish one, you put the next one on top of
Yeah,
your deck.
whenever the final chapter ability of a saga resolves, you reveal cards from the top of your library just until you hit a saga. So that could be the top card, it could be the 50th card.
Yeah.
You get a saga card, you put that saga onto the battlefield, but it only once each turn.
Now remind me, saga cards are turn-based, right?
Yeah, it's at the beginning of your turn, basically, is when it goes to the next chapter, and then once it hits the last chapter on the card, it resolves and it goes to the graveyard. It's done.
And so if you just play one per turn, you know you're gonna
You're gonna get
a new
4.
one each turn.
Yeah, the lore counters mark like the moving of the chapters.
Yeah.
So if you're on chapter 2, the saga will have 2 counters on it.
Yeah.
So it should be pretty easy to get up to 4 with him.
The problem. Oh, so if you have one saga out and it has 6 chapters, if you're on the 4th chapter,
Another 4 chapters.
that's 4 counters.
4 lore counters.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
I thought you had to have 4 sagas out each with 1 counter.
Yeah,
So that's super
necessarily.
easy for him.
Especially with this the stupid Ent one that you don't like. that
Yeah.
might have a place in the deck, maybe.
Just to keep him hexproof and indestructible.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Other than that,
Just to keep your counter.
and that's
up.
7 turns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I think it'd be interesting to put sagas in with him, but like a lot of the sagas, at least the ones that I've seen, are so specific to other decks.
Sure.
Like,
specific
that-
strategies.
Yeah, it's like, okay, there's one in the Tyranid deck where it doubles the number of counters on each creature.
Mm-hmm.
That's like,
Doesn't work in.
okay, maybe you have the Ent one, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, so I now have 2 counters on my 1/1 because I had to put it on my dog instead of my cat, instead of my spider, instead of my whatever else,
Yeah. Human.
right? My horse. It's like, okay, so now my cat is a 3/3 instead of a 1/1.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Sagas are kind of a hard design space because they're. You're right. Yeah, they're enchantments that have to go away in a few turns. Like they're just going to die. There's something to be said that because that you can't pick any strategy.
yeah,
Because Tom Bombadil is just sagas. Like he doesn't really do anything else. So as of right now, maybe it's not super strong, but potential for the future,
plays.
I think is pretty good.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think he'll be decently popular, if not now, eventually.
Yeah.
Or again, the build around ability. You could sit down at a table with 3 different Tom Bombadil decks that they've all built them slightly differently, like because there's enough variety in the sagas. Maybe you do just build +1/+1 counters. I don't know why, but maybe.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting.
There's ways to manipulate the chapters on the sagas as well, so you can keep one alive like for longer, or like replay one ability multiple times. So there's something to do there at least.
Yeah.
It doesn't personally like interest me. It's like, oh, I want to build that deck, but
I would have to really like look up a bunch of different saga cards and like see like, okay, is there any way to like make some sort of synergistic?
yeah, how do you win? It's
Yeah.
always making Magic decks is cool and all, but at the end of the day, you got to win the game.
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding. We can switch gears now, I guess,
Mhm.
a little
Yeah,
bit. We're still staying on the Magic topic, but that's kind of what I'm finding with my new ninjutsu deck.
Yeah.
With my Satoru Umezawa. Is like I know how to win with that deck.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is a like
Clear path.
there's a clear path where I have unblockable tiny creatures that are, 0/2s or 1/1s that are unblockable or have flying or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then I pay 4 mana and ninjutsu in a 9/9.
A giant creature.
Right? And so that's just like consistent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not fast by any means because I do have to do like damage over turns.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, but if like I do it correctly, within a few turns, like I can really start whittling. We just played that game where I was like, kind of steamrolling until Caleb's stupid life manipulation deck just decided like, oh yes, I go down to -1 health, and then I switch life totals with everyone, and you
Give you
both
my
lose.
life.
It's like, okay,
Hard to play around that.
me at freaking 38 health, and then you were at what 25 or something
Yeah,
like
something
that,
like
or
that.
22 or something, and he's at -1. He's like, yes, everyone's health becomes the lowest health on the board. Oh, by the way,
Comrade,
I
we're
can't
sharing
lose. It's like, well, okay. Yeah, but like, I like, there's a way to win with each deck, right?
Yeah.
Especially, you do a lot of combo decks,
Mhm.
which is like, I feel like it's kind of your bread and butter,
Clear path to victory.
you know? So it's kind of like, okay.
Activate the combo.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about, I was doing this yesterday, and I didn't tell you that I wanted to do this because I wanted to get your
Yes.
first reaction.
A surprise.
So I had, in my ninjutsu deck, I have the Bringer of Blue Dawn, which I mistakenly put into the deck because I didn't realize that the stupid colored pips on the bottom meant that I couldn't actually put them in my blue-black deck.
Color identity.
Yeah, I didn't realize that because I'm stupid. So I was looking for like another high-value 9-mana card that I could put in this deck that would give me some sort of benefit like Bringer of the Blue Dawn
Yeah.
would give me. And I found one that I want to... He's a colorless creature.
Okay.
He's... I'm not going to read you the name of the card just in case you know it.
Oh, sure,
So
sure.
he's 9 mana, colorless, artifact creature, gargoyle.
All right, go on.
9 mana for a 4/5.
That sounds terrible. You're dumb.
Has flying. But this is the kicker.
There's a kicker cost?
No. This is the effect that is kind of like, wow, that would really suck. But it's whenever the first non-creature spell each turn is played, counter that spell.
Whoa.
It's Nullstone Gargoyle.
Nullstone Gargoyle.
I don't know, like,
I'm getting a thumbs up from behind the camera.
what do you think about that, Colin? Does that sound like a decent card?
Oh yeah.
First non-creature spell each turn.
Each turn, whenever the first non-creature spell each turn is played, counter that spell.
I like it.
I think it's really cheap as well.
Yeah.
It's 50 cents.
50. Not an expensive card.
And so it kind of sucks that I bought Bringer of the Blue Dawn because if I had known that this card existed, I would definitely... Because Bringer of the Blue Dawn is only a 5/5 or 6/6 or something like that anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like...
kind of takes his place. He's a 4/5. It's not in it for the damage. It's in there for the effect.
Yep. It does affect my turn as well, though.
No, but ninjutsu isn't casting. So
No, but...
you can still function.
But yeah, I can still
fairly
function
normally.
fairly easily. But if I want to play any enchantments or stuff like that, the kicker, though, the thing is that I can ninjutsu him out whenever I want.
Yeah. After combat or during combat, after you played all your spells. I mean, for the turn.
Well, and if I want to play an enchantment that's like maybe not like a super good effect now, but like it's like effective throughout the game or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, well, if that's my first spell card, non-creature spell played this turn, then it's like, well, crap, I have this guy out, so I don't want to just like
You
nullify it.
brings
All
it back
right,
to
well, I'm
mana.
going to pay 4 mana, increase the mana cost, but like next turn I'll play all my spells, ninjutsu this guy back in,
Mm-hmm.
and then everyone else's spells get countered.
Everyone else has to deal with that.
And
in
then,
return.
I have to deal with it again, but then if I want to play something, I just ninjutsu him back out.
Totally.
And he has flying,
He's
so
flying,
he's
that's what I
reasonably
was gonna ask.
unblockable. He's also a 4/5, which is not small.
Yeah, it's
It's
fine,
it's
yeah.
not big by any means, but it's not small.
That's a siege rhino.
It's kind of cool.
I like it.
I'm gonna. He's in my TCG player shopping cart
That's
right now.
just sitting in the cart.
Yeah,
Just like
so if you want
Amazon.
to buy them.
Definitely, I approve. It's always good. Commander is always good when you can break symmetry. That's
Yeah.
kind of one of my rules of thumb. If you find some way that you can abuse the rules of the game to your benefit,
Sure.
and I think that works pretty good because you don't necessarily need to cast spells.
No, yeah, and I don't even think I have. I don't think I have even that many enchantments in my deck.
Yeah, that you would care to cast. Like, non-creatures. You don't have a whole lot of instants or sorceries. You're basically all creatures.
I do have some instants,
Oh, okay.
but
You've got some counter spells, but you don't need counter spells.
but if that's out, I don't need to counter a counter spell.
No.
I don't need to counter anything because it's going to automatically counter it. Then the next one, if I counter that one, the first card has already been
First card's already
done,
countered. Yeah.
so it doesn't matter.
You're good. Yeah.
So like my instants
That's set.
are fine, right? Like I can still use my instants and stuff like that to like counter, my counter spells and things like that.
That is a good design. Job well done.
I think so. Yeah, I think I'm gonna
approve.
spend the 50 cents to
To get that one.
get him, just because I have to order a bunch of tokens anyway.
Oh
So like my shopping cart's like $16 or something like that right now.
All tokens.
But yeah, I'm getting a bunch of copy tokens for my Tyranid deck.
Oh, nice.
Because
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of using just freaking like the card sleeves.
Here's a Dorito.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be a Taco Bell.
Sauce packet.
Yeah, the sauce packets. Yep.
And then I switch the sauce packet out depending on whether it's like a 2-2, a 3-3, 4-4-5. It's like mild, hot,
This one's
whatever they call
spicy.
the Diablo sauce or whatever.
The
Get
fire,
fired,
yeah.
Diablo, stuff like that. That'd be funny.
Oh man.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna add him into
No, yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
and then
That's clever.
just because I feel bad playing Bringer of the Blue Dawn and
It's not
not
official.
legal. I mean, personally, I don't care, but
You're biased.
yeah, because it's a decent card in my deck, right? It
Yeah,
gives me
yeah.
extra card draw, which is something I need in that
You
deck.
need,
That is
yeah.
something that I've noticed is that I definitely need more card draw in that deck. Because I want to get all my little creatures out and my big creatures into my hand, and
Yeah, you can't have just one half of the strategy.
no, and then if I'm ninjutsuing in and out and stuff, like I'm not losing cards in my hand, so I have to have like a reliquary tower, not a reliquary tower,
That works. Yeah, no maximum hand size.
is that reliquary tower
Yep.
that does that? Oh, okay. I was
or a thought vessel does
Thought
it.
Vessel, I think, is what I have in there as well.
Mhm.
So I have some ways to like increase maximum or get rid of maximum hand size, which was something that did come up in our last game. I had
Yes,
to
you
discard
have too many
twice.
cards, yeah.
I had to discard 5 cards total, I think, because I had too many in my hand.
Yeah,
Luckily, I had a bunch of lands that I could discard because I was land rich.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Right on.
yeah, Magic is fun.
It's a good game. I approve.
I agree.
All right. Well, we also got to talk about snacking foods. Not to make this the whole Magic themed episode, but
Yeah, we got to switch it off to
we've
our other hobby,
food.
eating.
I like eating food.
See, let me find my.
I like
freaking
snacking.
notes. I did my top. I was trying to do my top 10 snacks,
Oh, okay.
but I only got 9, and I gave myself a restriction
All right.
when I did this. I don't. We didn't talk about this restriction,
Yeah.
but I told myself it has to be off the shelf.
Off the shelf. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I could be
That's
like,
the point of a snack.
yeah, it could be like, oh yeah, I like a grilled cheese sandwich is not like a snack, even though if you might eat it like a snack, if you're gonna make yourself a grilled cheese sandwich,
Yeah.
it's like I didn't count that as a snack.
So my list is also that actually.
Yeah,
Conveniently. That's
Just in my mind, because at first when I was going through it, I was like, oh yeah, like snacks. Oh man, I love a good plate of like nachos. It's like that's like, you can eat that as a snack. Like, a little tiny plate of nachos with some like,
Yeah.
cheese and refried beans and salsa on it or whatever. Just like really easy. Just throw it in the microwave for
Mhm.
15, 30 seconds or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. There's certainly an argument to be made. I mean, that is still a snack. But I
But
yeah,
I'm
I
talking
the
about like,
restriction.
I go to the store, I'm like, ooh, that right there sounds good.
I'm craving this one thing.
Yeah.
From shopping.
And not to keep talking, but my list, like the top couple are like in order, and then the other ones are like, you could switch them around. Right?
Oh, okay.
Like depending on how I feel, like
Yeah.
the top. Let's see, the top 4 are like, yeah, those are like in order.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other ones are like, I could switch these around a little bit depending on my mood.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your list?
Yeah, so I'll preface mine with talking about depending on your mood. You know this a little bit about me. I'm not a creature of habit in particular. We've talked about our favorite ice cream orders before, and it's like I don't go to a restaurant and it's like this is what I get every time. I'm not that type of person. So I'm when it comes to snacking foods, I'm like how do I word this? Anything that's like on sale catches my eye. I'll admit, I'm just like, oh,
You're a cheap bastard.
yeah, totally. I'm like, oh, dude, that's $1 off. I gotta get that. Like, so that was the first thing I put. Was like, hey, if something's on sale, I'm like, oh, I've seen this object before, but I've never tried it. Let me get it. And
Anything on sale is your number 1.
anything on sale, I'm just.
That's a good list. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can get behind that.
I not a creature of habit, so that works for me. I'm just like, yeah, I'll try out this snack.
I didn't even think of that because this was hard for me because I do also do something similar where it's like I go if I am in like a snacking mood, I'll go to the store and like I'm not always picking out my number one thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. Totally.
I'm like going there, I'm like like what sounds good, you know, like I'll browse a little bit. So I get that.
My wife's the opposite. I asked her if she knew I was making the tier list of snacks. And she only has one on her list. She's like, her best snack is she doesn't do this all the time now. Maybe with age, it's more of like a teenage thing. She flamin' hot Cheetos with like cheese sauce. Now she does like the salsa con queso.
Okay, my wife does this.
No way, the same thing?
Not the same thing, but
Okay.
very similar.
All right,
She does the hot Cheetos with the
Cheetos.
spinach artichoke dip.
The spinach artichoke dip. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's like her snack.
Wow.
Yeah. And so like whenever she's like not feeling good, she's like, can you go to the store and like get me some snacks? And like I don't even have to ask anymore.
You don't have to
It's
ask.
hot Cheetos, spinach dip,
Wow.
and then like either Reese's or Twix.
Yeah. I do it like for her birthday. It was like this is the special snack.
If I'm at the store and feeling like generous, I'll do it as well,
Mhm.
just because. But she doesn't like when I do that because
So-
she's like, you're gonna make me fat. And I'm like, well, I already am. So like,
There's definitely something to be said about the premise of available food is just you're just gonna eat it. So
Yeah.
if it wasn't there, you wouldn't eat it. But yeah, hot Cheetos and nacho cheese. Every
That's
time.
funny.
I'm like, wow,
that's funny.
Huh, all right, just out of the jar. Okay.
Yeah. Whereas I'm like the same way as you, where it's like I don't need like the same thing every time.
The
right?
one thing that's maybe she had a second thing on her list because every time she travels, maybe it's a creature habit. Every time she travels, like on a plane, a road trip, or whatever, barbecue Pringles.
My wife, salt and vinegar Pringles.
She doesn't like Pringles, just barbecue Pringles.
That's hilarious. My wife is always salt and vinegar Pringles and then peanut M&Ms.
Oh yeah, peanut M&Ms. Those are the peanuts with the crunch. Yeah,
Yeah, like the
Okay.
yellow bag,
the
not
yellow, not the red one. The
Is
peanut
that the
butter.
one? Yeah, I don't like that one. That
Oh,
one's
okay.
kind of gross. I do love a good peanut M&M though.
Yeah, peanut M&M with the
I
crunch.
love M&Ms in general though.
So
Alright.
I thought that was funny. She's
Alright.
kind of the opposite of me, and apparently your wife is
This
also
as
the opposite
well.
of you. Yeah.
She likes other snacks, but those
Yeah.
are her favorite.
My top snack. And again, I don't know if they're in order. Probably, at least these top two. Okay, my top snack after that drum roll is Cheez-Its. Probably, I love Cheez-Its.
Okay.
The extra toasted
Oh, extra toasted.
variety. That's once they came out with those, however many years ago. That's the bomb. Because it used to be you get the old box of Cheez-Its, original or whatever, and sometimes you get the extra toasted one, and it was the best Cheez-It in the box. Now they have a whole box of toasted Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
Cheez-Its, pretzels. I'm a sucker for just the hard pretzels. I like soft pretzels too. I'd buying them at a store, but hard pretzels out of the bag, awesome. Love those. Oreos. It's one of my snacks. I'm assuming that one's on your list.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Double stuff, obviously.
Well, so I'm the same thing going back to I don't make habits. I kind of like trying different flavors of Oreos.
Oh, fair.
They're all good for me. It's just the chocolate cookie with
Sure.
whatever you throw in the middle. And then also on top of that is ice cream. That's number 4.
Oh, you have ice cream as a
Ice cream,
snack.
dude.
That's a good call.
I can't explain it, but yep, you go to the freezer. You're just like, I want 1 spoonful of ice cream right now. That's all I want.
That never is 1 spoonful
It's-
though. It's always 6.
Maybe 2 spoonfuls. Okay, I'll get 1 more spoonful and then I'll put the top on. I'll get 1 more spoonful and then I'll put it in the freezer so I don't have to look at it. Yeah.
I get that.
1 more spoonful before I put the spoon in the sink and wash it off. We're done. No more ice cream.
Your 1 spoonful turned into 5, and
Yeah.
then you're like, all right, I gotta be
All
done.
right, we're done.
All right.
So yeah, I only had 4 legitimate snacks, but again, same thing
Alright.
with the ice cream. I like basically any flavor.
That's fair.
Always trying something different.
That's fair. All right, so we have a very similar thing here.
All right.
My number 1, Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its.
But
Cheez-Its.
I'm not prejudiced.
Okay. Any white cheddar Cheez-Its? Really? What's your take on that?
I like them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, they're not like my favorite.
Yeah, yeah.
But, like sometimes the mood hits.
Yeah.
So, we need to wrap it up.
Cool.
Okay.
5 minutes. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cheez-Its. I got the flavored Triscuit crackers.
Oh.
Not like the normal, just like plain
The
Triscuit,
plain,
but
but-
like They have like the Gouda cheese flavored ones.
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
the fire roasted tomato ones.
It's like the olive oil and
Yeah.
balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, they have like a cracked pepper one. Those are like
I like the cracked
they're
pepper.
like snacky because you just like throw it in your mouth and you don't feel bad about it because it's like
It's just
a Triscuit.
meat. Yeah.
But then they have like a little bit of flavor. They're not like overpowering or whatever.
Not to turn into a long story, but I would have killed for Triscuits in Argentina.
Oh, for sure.
Like crackers are huge in Argentina, but they're all just like
bland.
barely saltines. They're
Oh,
just
yeah,
boring
sure.
crackers.
Sure.
Just a little bit of flavor.
Yeah. Got Oreos
Oreos
for 3.
with your double stuff. Yeah.
I had to add this one in later, but Otter Pops.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
That's-
you get 3 of those, crack them open. It's, so good.
summertime, and we found out that each Otter Pop is only like 20 calories.
Yeah, like 15 or something like
It's
that.
nothing,
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
nothing. And then Pepperidge Farm Pirouettes.
Oh, the
They're
little
like the
straw
little-
things. I have those in hot chocolate in the wintertime. Yeah.
Oh.
But you just
Oh,
crack
I
it.
just munch on them.
Yeah,
I'll like
alright.
crack it open, and it usually comes in like 2 packages. I'll open a package and just pound the whole package. This is like if I'm like hardcore like gaming or
Yeah,
something like that,
I'm
right?
snacking hard.
Yeah. My wife's gone.
Pirouettes.
Peanut butter filled pretzels.
Oh, those are pretty good. Like the Snyder's brand.
Yeah, I
or-
don't know. There's like a bunch of different brands, but those are good.
Those are solid.
Then I have the Lindt chocolate balls. Like they're like the red package or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah,
They're
that's
like the
good.
little they're like the Christmas time ones.
Yeah,
Like you
yeah.
can buy them any time of the year, but the dark chocolate
I
ones.
didn't know that, but now I do.
The dark chocolate ones are like a go-to for me if I'm going for chocolate.
Okay.
I got any potato chip or corn chip. I'm not really prejudiced.
Okay.
And then these ones are kind of tied for me, but gummy bears and high chews.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan of those.
I see. I'm not a gelatin guy, but
Oh,
but
that's
I
fine.
can respect it.
I will say that a bad gummy bear is real gross. Like a
Oh.
bad gelatiny candy. Like if you get like a different brand that it's not like Black Forest or Haribo or whatever.
Yeah, the
if it's like a
premium
knockoff one, and you're like, oh, this one's
Dollar
like
store gummy
$3
bears.
cheaper than like the Haribo ones. I'll just get this one. And then you like bite it, and it's like grainy. You're like, ugh.
Oh yeah, no that sounds gross.
It is pretty gross. It is pretty gross.
Dang, that was a full list.
That was the full list. Any critiques?
Okay, so your first couple were at the top, and then after that it was kind of all.
So yeah, it's
Mix
more or
match.
less in the same order.
Yeah.
In like that order, but it's like, I could move the peanut butter pretzels higher. I could move the pirouettes lower.
Yeah, no.
But other than that, it's like, it's pretty much the list.
And we're pretty identical, so I don't really have too many.
Yeah,
At
sure.
least our top ones. I don't have too many
Yeah.
critiques.
Cheez-Its are just let's be honest.
That's-
manna from heaven.
That's S tier. Like, oh, Cheez-Its are the best. Man from heaven. I could live on Cheez-Its.
I could,
I mean,
dude. You give me Cheez-Its and ice cream, I live forever. Dude, I legitimately would just live off of that.
oh man.
I'd be fatter than freaking crud.
Don't you know Cheez-Its make you fat? You couldn't live
I'm
forever.
already fat, buddy.
They can't make me do anything.
Very good.
That's
Very
funny.
good. Well, shall we cut this one a little bit short?
Yeah, let's call it.
Cool.
All right.
Alrighty.
Till next time.
Till next time.
Thanks for watching this episode of the 5G Podcast.
We appreciate your time and your comments.
As always, you can find us on all of the social medias, such as Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
You can also listen to the 5G podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.
Again, thank you for watching the 5G Podcast. We hope to see you next week.